to all of you. Thank you for joining us for today's online seminar on protected cultivation for enhancing resource use efficiency and productivity of horticultural crops. On this occasion, I, Ms. Ayushi Darji, take this opportunity to welcome you, our patrons, Dr. R.B. Vyas sir, Vice Chancellor Anand Agriculture University, Dr. R.C. Agarwal sir, DDG Education, National Director NAHEB Cast, our chief guest and keynote speaker, Dr. Pradeep Kumar, Senior Scientist, Division of Integrated Farming System, ICR Kazri, Jodhpur. Our advisors, Dr. Prabhat Kumar, National Coordinator, NAHEB Cast, ICR, New Delhi. Dr. YC Jhala, Principal and Dean of IABMI, IAU Anand. Our today's guest speakers, Dr. Pratap Singh Khapte, Scientist, School of Water Stress Management, ICAR. Dr. Nitin Shah, Principal and Dean, College of Horticulture, AU Anand, and Dr. Avni Kumar Singh, Senior Scientist, ICR, New Delhi. Our today's online seminars convener, Dr. R.S. Pundi sir, Professor and PI, NAHEB Cast Project, AU Anand. Organizing Secretary, Dr. Gautam R. Patel, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Agriculture Engineering, College of Vaso. Joint Organizing Secretary, Dr. Y.A. Lad, Associate Professor and Core COPI, NAHEB Cast Project. And Coordinator, Dr. Himanshu Patel, Assistant Professor, College of Agriculture, AU Vaso. I welcome you all. And I also heartily welcome to our participants who have taken keen interest in this online seminar. So now we are going to start our inaugural function of this online seminar. First of all, I would like to invite Dr. R.S. Pundir sir for his welcome address. Please, sir.
Thank you, Ayushi. Though you have done good job already. That's nice. Okay. First of all, very good morning to one and all who have joined or who are likely to join. And on behalf of our university and on my own behalf, first of all, I welcome my Honorable Vice Chancellor who has sent his message. Probably he may not be joining, but if he joins, he may be joining a little later. Thank you, sir, for sending your message for success of this our one-day webinar. I also welcome my Principal and Dean, Dr. YC Jhala, who is already there with us always in all the activities, and he is also the office in charge of this project before even when this project was conceived. And Dr. Prabhat Kumar, just we had a discussion a few minutes back. We requested, but he may not be available today, but we also welcome him. And Dr. Y.M. Sukla Sahab, Principal, College of Agriculture, Washo, our university. And as we know, this one-day webinar is being organized by these two institutions, College of Agriculture, AU Washo, and Center for Agriculture Market Intelligence, AU Anand. So just a few days back, we had a very wonderful one-day webinar from these two institutions also, which we had a very good response from the participants. I also welcome all our coordinators, Dr. Gautam R. Patel, Dr. Lad, my colleague and CCPI and HR head, and Dr. H.C. Patel also. Also already wish I think some of our key speakers. We have three important key speakers today. I also welcome to all these key speakers and the chief guest and keynote speaker, Dr. Pradeep Kumar from Division of Integrated Farming System, Kazri, Jodhpur. Welcome you, sir, to as our chief guest as well as keynote speaker. All other three important key speakers are Dr. Pratap Singh Khapte Sahab, Dr. Nitin Aisha, and Dr. Avni Kumar Singh. Already our colleague Ayushi has given a brief introduction about these our speakers. And about Dr. Avni Kumar Singh, I had just today morning a little discussion with my national coordinator Prabhat Kumar Sahab. Sir, we have heard about you. So you are very, very important apart from having a very good knowledge in this area, horticulture, and you are a very good important speaker also. So once again, I welcome all these dignitaries and of course the staff members and faculty associated with this seminar in our group, as well as all the participants who have already joined and who are likely to join. As we all know, most of maybe the staff members here, they know about the activities of this project on agriculture market intelligence under NHP CAST at our university, AU. But specifically for those who have just who are the first time participating in this activity, maybe some of our speakers or maybe some participants, it is for them. This center was established 1.5 years back, and the focus is on agriculture market intelligence, which covers two major activities apart from other things. Foreign visit of the students and maybe the infrastructure facilities and other many activities. Two major activities are there: research and capacity building programs. We are conducting research in the broad area of marketing, trade, market intelligence, which is a part of them, and of course, farm producers organizations, commodity markets. But capacity building program is an integral part of the major activities of these projects. And in this series, we have conducted large number of programs, taking from 1 day to maybe the 10 days programs, or we are continuing. This is a continuous activity. Today's program is a part of this capacity building activities of this project. And this is on protective cultivation for enhancing resource use efficiency and productivity of horticulture crops. Whatever we do in agriculture sector, particularly in universities, ultimate purpose is that the benefit should percolate towards the farmers. And protected agriculture is one of the area in both sides, in production side as well as marketing, which is nowadays not only buzzword but the most important need of the hours. Our chief guest, Dr. Pradeep Kumar, as well as all other three our speakers today will discuss mainly with focus on the production side. And ultimately, we would like to know not only the students, PG scholars and faculty members, but ultimately how these speakers will help us to understand this area, all the participants and others, and eventually how we can help the farmers in enhancing their income. Because protected agriculture is one of the area which has high potential for enhancing the farmers' income by adopting the technology as well as ultimately linking it with the market. Though in today's webinar, marketing is the secondary aspect. So with these words, once again, I welcome all our dignitaries here as well as participants. Thank you very much. Over to you, Aishi.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving introductory remarks. Now, I would like to request Dr. Y.M. Shukla, sir, for his inaugural address. Please, sir.
Morning to all of you, and thank you, Dr. Pundirji, for welcoming me. I also welcome our chief guest, Dr. Pradeep ji, and all other participants, Dr. Haften, Dr. Oyelad, and other all, Dr. Anisha, and all participants those who have joined for this webinar series that is on protected cultivation for enhancing resource as use efficiency and productivity of horticulture crops. This webinar is going to organized by Warsaw, that is College of Agriculture Warsaw, as well as Center for Agriculture Market Intelligence, and also sponsored under the World Bank and ICR funded NIH CAST project. I am glad that I to present some introductory remarks to all of you. And if you look at the onset of this webinar series, then it is we have to look for the agriculture scenario, because agriculture is the backbone of our country. Even though as compared to 70% or 75% a few years back, agriculture dependent India, it is now reduced to almost 55%. And again, the industrial approach is already being given weightage, but simultaneously agriculture scenario cannot be overlooked also. So if we want to increase the economy of our poor farmers, then we have to go for the various agriculture innovation. Through that, we can also enhance the economical aspects of the poor farmers, those who are mostly the small scale as well as the marginal farmers, because India's farmers are mostly the marginal farmers or small scale farmers. They are having the small land area, and they are having the limited crop production. And under this, the agriculture scenario becomes more challengeable to enhance the economical aspects for the poor farmers. Moreover, India is also having the, if you look at the breadth and length of the India, and as well as the cultivated area under India, the vast diversity also exists. And because of this, it enhances the production criteria for the farmer's point of view. Apart from these biotic factors, abiotic factors, they are also limiting the crop production as well as yield. So looking to these all these aspects under these farmers' benefits, then we cannot overlook some of these basic problems which farmers are already facing it. So looking to this, we have to develop, because the nowadays agriculture is a challenging area. It is not a traditional agriculture that we were following. Only you grow crop and you put your own seeds that farmers has already produced. And if you are not overcoming this aspect, then naturally the economy will not come up. So looking to these aspects, it is necessary to go for the and adopt the various technologies that agriculture is at present is developing. So nowadays agriculture is just not limited. If you look at the global scenario of the world, then various developments have been occurred in terms of the protective agriculture is one of them. Simultaneously, robotic agriculture, then space agriculture, hydroponics, soilless agriculture, like that, drafted tissue cultures. But too many areas are now developing, and farmers are to be benefited most for this adopting some of this technology. And protective cultivation cannot be overlooked, even though they are having some difficulties to protect cultivation. So protective cultivation is not in fact a new area, because it is century 150 years that this was also applied. So earlier, uh, India is also not an exception to this. But in India, in real sense, after the world, China has leading it, followed by the Spain, and then comes the India for the recent development. So in India, the protective cultivation is not in fact very old, but it really started 30 years back. And Indo-Israel project came into existence by 1998, and then after the India's scenario changed under the protective cultivation. So there are the various advantages of protective cultivation, where you are maintaining the and this carbon dioxide level, and simultaneously you are also overcoming the various abiotic and biotic factors under this protective cultivation. So certain factors that farmers are facing, so rainfall conditions, over-raining, drought conditions, they may come, or farmers may come over this all these difficulties uh, by applying, I mean, adopting this productive agriculture cultivation. So mainly it was limited for India. That now if you look in the Indian states, the actually, by 2014-15 data, it suggested that it is covering around 35,000 hectares area. But now it has been increasing. So only 0.25 million hectares. And again in that, Maharashtra was leading, followed by the Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. And then the Himachal Pradesh was also one of the leading states for this adopting the protected cultivation area. And Gujarat is nowadays also progressing under this protective cultivated area. And simultaneously, this central government as well as the state government, they are also helping for the subsidy uh, provided. And because of this, the more and more farmers, they are going for these protective cultivations. So in fact, if you look then under the protective cultivation, so net house, greenhouse, glass house, then under polyhouse, that plastic tunnels like that, all these are covering under this. And there are various benefits of the protective cultivations, because we can overcome the various biotic factors, abiotic factors. We can also reduce the number of uh, uh, factors that soilless means overcome the seedling raising problems which farmers are facing under these open field conditions. So there is a vast benefit of this, but simultaneously, if you go for this uh, uh, benefits of this, then it will be within 3 to 5 years. The farmers can have a benefit of this apart from this economical difficulties or economical constraint in the earlier stage. So apart from this, there are various benefits because the protective cultivation is under the control environmental conditions. So offline or off-season plants you can develop. And mostly in India nowadays, the various horticulture plants and the ornamental plants, Velvera, then many other plants, that is Chrysanthemum, and other crops we can also develop in the vegetable also, that is cucumber, tomato, and capsicum species, that is yellow, red, and green chili, green capsicum or bell pepper. We can also develop under these conditions. So there are certain advantages for the farmers as well as certain disadvantages. They are also there at the initial stage. But once the farmers they adopt this, because the farmers need a particular skill technology, and the skill technology of our Indian farmers, they are far behind the this. These may be the limitation of the protected cultivation. But however, our agriculture graduates, they can go for this, they can advise this, and many sponsor companies or private companies, they are having the 100% skilled technician or the agriculture graduates, which they can help to our farmers. And now, not now, but after the few years, the farmers will go for this, and we can have a bumper production under this. And within a means year, so instead of taking one crop under open field conditions, we may go for 3 to 4 times season-wise production, off-season production, and the farmers will get a more price also. And looking to this, as I told you earlier, there are certain limitations, because it should be whatever the material that is being applied to this particular cultivation, it should last long. It should not have this durability only for the year or 2 years or less than 4 years. Otherwise, it will have some limitations and farmers will not have the technology. But whatever the material that is poly PVC materials or uh, roof material that is being used, it should sustain the various abiotic factors for not less than 20 years. So that only the farmers can adopt this. And looking to this, all this aspect and utility of this, it will be very beneficial in the longer term from the protected cultivation, because we at present we are not going to concentrate on the robotic agriculture or space agriculture or hydroponics or aquaculture in India, but we have to come always under the means more and more land that is uncultivated, that should grow under the cultivated area, and we can have a self-reliance or self-sufficiency in cereals we have achieved. But simultaneously, there are a number of crops that can be not overlooked for this, and among them that there are various vegetable crops. Apart from this, there are various horticulture crops, then ornamental crops that should also be considered for the various applications of this. Among them, I shall tell you this about the seedlings of the nursery for the various vegetable crops, as well as the uh, cabbage, leafy vegetables, and the radish can also be put in the cultivation of the protective cultivation. And similarly, the chrysanthemum, carnation, gerbera, rose, lilium, orchid, and gladiolus, they have been now a well-developed technology. Have been already farmers are applied, and from the market nearby, even in Gujarat nearby Navsari area, that farmers are producing some of these ornamental plants, and then it is being sold at the global level. So I hope this seminar or webinar series online will be helpful to all our participants, farmers, and the students. And I wish the grand success for this webinar series. Thank you, Dr. Kundit ji, and our organizing staff for providing me an opportunity to express some of my views. Thank you once again. Over to
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Now, I would like to introduce our chief guest and keynote speaker, Dr. Pradeep Kumar. He is working as Senior Scientist, Vegetable Science at ICR Central Arid Zone Research Institute, Jodhpur. He is well-known scientist in his area of research. He is recipient of prestigious NSICR International Fellowship to pursue his PhD from University of Tuscia, Italy. Dr. Kumar's knowledge and understanding in emerging vegetable grafting and protected cultivation are praiseworthy at national and international level as depicted by his excellence publication and his deliberations as keynote or lead presenter in various conferences in India as member and as a member of scientific committee in international symposium and as a chairperson in international horticultural congress. Equally, he is an excellent in technology transfer. He organized several sponsored training and workshops and disseminated technical know-how on vegetable production through various print and electronic media, including TV and radio talks. For his contribution in the field of horticulture, he is adorned with the BioVed Young Scientist Award and IJTS Young Scientist Award, Bir Singh Asi Memorial, and Chiranjit Parmar Distinguished Publication Awards. Besides many oral and poster presentations award, he has around 55 publications in his credit, including 25 research paper in his impact factor journals, 8 book chapters, 10 manuals and bulletins, 8 extension folders, and several technical articles. With this, I humbly invite you, sir, for your keynote address. Please, sir.
Thank you, Ayushi, for a long introduction. Good morning, everybody. First of all, I would like to say thanks to the Vice Chancellor of the great university, Dr. Vyasar, and the staff members who are organizing this one-day seminar, who took me as a keynote presenter, not only the presenter, and also made me the ever first, this is for me, the ever first inaugural session where I am going to be a chief guest. So thanks a lot. I don't know if I deserve, but I respect the decision and the responsibility given by the organizers. So I really thank to one and all, especially the convener and the organizers who were organizing such a beautiful online conferences, seminars and trainings, as I heard mentioned by the Dr. Pundi sir in the beginning, that so many training programs, not only for 1 day, up to 8 days or long, has been organized in the welfare of the farming community. That is the wonderful thing I'm seeing. I have been talking in different fora and the platform per se, particularly during this COVID period. And I found really the way you are doing is rather more practical. So, okay, today's session is, I think, exclusive for the students because it's a NAHE program. And so one of the objectives of the NAHE is to do the capacity building for the students and for the faculty members. So thanks everyone. And also I would like also say thank to Deputy Director General in his absence here, Dr. R.L. Agrawal sir. And my thanks to Dr. Shah and Dr. Pundi sir and Dr. Y.M. Shukla and Dr. Prabhat Kumar, who is not present now, from ICR, and Dr. Patel, who invited, and we are in very much contact. Even I spoke to Dr. Patel that how you picked up my name as a chief guest because I'm too young. He said, sir, what he said, that is more important, and how they decided. Sir, we were looking at who is really working in protected cultivation field. We are not just going with the tag, with the seniority also. So he spoke about that really I respect. Whether I deserve or not, but I take it as a respect. And yeah. So today's, since it is the keynote lecture, so straightway I will go. Otherwise, it will take a long time. I would like to really thank from my core of heart. So it is really great pleasure to talk before you people. Let me share my presentation. The topic I have been given for today's talk is protected cultivation, present status and future prospects. Dr. Shukla has already spoke a lot of about the protected cultivation. Yes, it's true. And He covered almost all the area, and really it is prospects as well as challenges are there, issues are there that need to be taken care of by the researcher, by the other stakeholders whomsoever involved, and most importantly, it goes to the policy makers and the government who implemented programs. So there are some issues which we will discuss later. So first of all, because it's the presentation which is primarily focused to the students. So just academically, if you see for anybody or for the persons to survive on the earth or planet, three most important things are needed: food, water, and shelter, that is land. So as in the current scenario and the future scenario of increasing population, the demand of foods is certainly going to be increased, but the availability of resources, the most critical resources for agriculture are water and the land. They are going to be reduced. So we have to produce more from the less, means we have to increase the productivity from the limited resources, not only the limited, but limiting day by day. Just here, I would like to highlight from this statistics, horticulture production, we crossed the food grain production, and today's production is around 315 million tons. And out of which around 60% is contributed by the vegetables, which is the great growing sector in the whole agriculture and particularly horticulture, and producing 193 million tons of production. When we look at the data, really it is not so surprising, because the increasing in the production in the past decades was primarily due to the increase in the area, not because of the productivity. What science is doing, actually, this is of great concern. It should be our concern to increase productivity, because we cannot devote more and more land for the agriculture, for the vegetable production, because we need to grow food grain production. Farmers are turning towards the horticulture production, but it is not going to be happen year after year. So we have to increase the productivity, not devoting the land, further land for horticultural production. So, and in last 10 years, the productivity is hovering around 17 tons per hectare, and the production is increased in production is only increasing the area. So, and one more example I would like to quote. We know that India is the second largest producer in tomato, by producing 19 million tons, whereas China is the first in the production of tomato with 61 million tons. If we look at the productivity, we are at 24 tons per hectare. There are 88 countries which has productivity more than what we produce, and 52 countries with the double of our productivity, and 12 countries which have productivity more than 10 times. The leading one, the Netherlands, with 500 plus tons per hectare. Okay, regions are there. Why they? Because they have a complete tomato cultivation under controlled environment, and the growing period is 9 to 10 months, unlike our growing period that is 5 to 6 months. But this is the potential. What I would like to highlight here, that this is the potential how we can increase the productivity, and without devoting more land to the horticulture, particularly vegetable or flowers, and we can increase the production level. So what are the reasons of low vegetable productivity in India, and particularly in the open field, which suffer a great from various factors? Among those, biotic factors, which are soil-borne diseases, that is primarily associated with the protected cultivation, then foliar diseases, insects, birds, animals, and so on. And likewise, several abiotic factors also cause huge losses to the production. And for example, drought in many states, and the salt state, whether it is soil or groundwater, heat stress, cold stress, and the excess and poor light radiation. During winter, we have very less radiation, but in summer we have excess. In the same place, at the same place, we have both kind of condition situation. Like in Rajasthan, in Gujarat, particularly in Rajasthan, western part of India, we have a temperature, high temperature that touches to 20 degrees Celsius, but the night temperature is sometimes sub-zero degrees Celsius. So it is very difficult to really grow vegetables, particularly which are high value crops in open field in both the season. So we have to compromise with and farmers do compromise with the production and quality. So what could be the strategy to cope up with these issues? The first one, to grow the crops under protected environment, or develop cultivars which can
Excuse me,
resistant
sir.
or tolerate. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, have you shared your PPT?
Oh, really?
Actually, it's not visible to us. So,
Please, you should have told me before. I tried, but maybe I lost.
sir, in Zoom screen, there is one option share
Yeah,
screen.
yeah. Okay, let me open the Zoom. So everyone missed my presentation. Just well, I will not restart. Rather, I prefer to just
No problem.
show the slides in quick mode. So this was my first slide,
Okay.
the introductory. Then this is what I talked about, the demand and the availability and the demand, and the goal, increasing productivity with less resources, and the production statistics and vegetables, and tomatoes. This graph shows that the countries with very high productivity in tomatoes, and the regions of low vegetable productivity, particularly in open field cultivation. These are some biotic factors which really causes huge losses to the production: soil-borne diseases, foliar diseases, insect pests, animals, and abiotic stresses: drought, salts, heat, cold, and hailstorm, flood, nutrient stress, and excess and poor radiation. So the strategy to increase or to cope up with these issues are growing crop under protected environment, or to develop cultivars which can tolerate or resist the biotic and abiotic stresses. So the first one is the protected cultivation. The literal meaning of protected cultivation is growing crops under protected environments. So there are two words is used in this area, the protected cultivation. It means the production, growing crops under permanent or temporary structure. Means protected cultivation includes both permanent, like a greenhouses, polyhouse, net house, shade net house, glass house, and the temporary structure. It's like low tunnel, row cover, and all. Greenhouse cultivation, it includes the permanent cover, whether it is glass house, net house, or polyhouse. So the basic purpose of protected cultivation is to protect the crop from external factors and create favorable environment so that plant could grow better and produce much better. The protected cultivation is the future, particularly in this pandemic period. We realized that we need something which can, under which we can assure the production. And it was never before thought that much level, because we need a balanced diet. For balanced diet, we are now looking at the nutritional security, foods with the nutrients, like a calorie for the grains, and the vitamins and minerals and fibers and other things from the fruits and vegetables. And also provide job opportunities to the rural youth, and not only the rural youth, a lot of urban people are coming into the agriculture, and the huge opportunities for new generation. Those are techno savvy, particularly in hydroponic system. The major advantages of the protected cultivation, I'm not going in detail, but just highlighting: high yield and quality. Yield can go multifold, many times, like I showed you 10 times, 15 times higher. Year-round and off-season production is possible. A high efficiency of land, water, nutrient, and the cultivation is possible under hostile conditions. Like I never thought of the one-day protected cultivation will grow like anything under arid desert, hot desert, not only in the cold, but in hot desert also, and it is blooming. And the clean cultivation, since it is clean cultivation, young youths are coming, and this is good to meet the goal of doubling farmers' income, our Prime Minister's goal. So protected cultivation can resolve production issues, low productivity, water and nutrient use efficiency under harsh environment, which usually limits the production. This is the just the evolution how happened in the greenhouse. It started in 1380, 30 AD in the Roman greenhouses for supplying vegetables to the emperors. Then now we see the advanced so-called this plant factories with LEDs and the aeroponics and hydroponics. So this advancement has taken place in the past. And the present is also going in this direction. Global scenario of protected cultivation today. In 1990s, there was 0.67 million hectare as per the authentic data at global level. Although they have not included India because there is no systematic data available for our country, but for many 95% countries, they are having a very authentic data, including China and Europe, USA, Israel, and many other parts, means the countries. Today is it is in 2018 and 19 data says that in 2018 there was around 5.6 million hectare lands under protected cultivation, and it includes all kinds of protected structure, permanent as well as the temporary. And China, Spain, South Korea, Japan, Turkey, they are the leading one, having 96% of the total area under protected cultivation. Greenhouse area, among the greenhouse means where the plastics and glass houses are used. 90% are the plastics and 10% are the glass houses. China is the leading one with 3.4 million hectare, out of which a total greenhouse area less than 1% is the glass covered. And in India, we have approximately 0.5, actually 0.5, this is 50,000, not million hectare, 0.5 lakh area. And some people, they present up to 1 lakh. So it is not really, there is no systematic data. So it can vary because the low tunnel, sometimes it's at some few thousands of hectares in Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, and other parts, but sometimes not. So it can vary. And this is the scenario of cultivation in different countries. India, in terms of the position, India is on 38th rank. Spain, and after China, Spain is the second, then the list goes on. I just quote the example of Netherlands, where the growth is happening. In 2000, there was 1.2 hectare per farm greenhouses. Now it reached to 3.7. Means see the growth of the protected cultivation, particularly the greenhouse cultivation in the European countries. This is a classical example, Almería, the plastic sea. This is in south of the Europe and south Spain, where one district, Almería, is in Granada region, where around 70 to 75% of the total geographical area is covered with the plastics, so only polyhouses. And these polyhouses are not very high tech; they are very simple, and the growers are the owner of the polyhouses, and they grow fruits and vegetables, particularly the vegetables and cucumber, capsicum, tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and 60% of the production is supplied to the, means it's meet the demand of whole Europe. So you can think of it is around nearly around 40 to 45,000 hectare areas under protected cultivation in just one district. And the area is not in terms of resources very good, and the rainfall is just around 200 mm per hectare, less than the Rajasthan. And the lands are not very good. They use artificial soil, and they use sea water after desalination. There are several precision farming development centers across the country which are taking care of the work of plasticulture, protected cultivation. They do the research, they do the refinement of technology, they have a demonstration and the extension in protected cultivation. There are several types and kinds of protected cultivation. The protected cultivation doesn't mean that just a polyhouse and net house. It starts from the mulching. Mulching is also a part of protected cultivation, which give protection from sometimes from high temperature, weeds, and it increase the microclimate that is beneficial for the roots, which is the most critical part of the plants. So, and the next one is the low tunnel or row cover. This is also a low cost protected structure that protects crop, especially during early summer crop, and that is planted during winter, and it gives a protection to the crop, early growth of the crop, and then it enables the harvesting sometimes up to 1.5 months, and normally 20 days to 40 days depending on the crops and species. So there is one farmer, Harbir Singh from Kurukshetra, Haryana, who 4 years back he started working on the nurseries, and now he is having 8 acres land, and the totally covered with this plastic during winter, and he just run for 6 to 7 months, 6 months, and produce just a nursery and sell, and his turnover is in crores, 2.5 crores. So it's a very beautiful use of this non-woven cloth fabric and for raising the nursery underneath. And then the next one is the walking tunnel. It is small tunnel structures. This can and not so wide, but they are long. Particularly during winter season, these are very helpful to protect them from the crop from the harsh winter, and underneath the structure plastics plants are growing well. And also by some removable mechanism, we can put these nets inside, and then we can grow also vegetables during summer season by unfolding the side curtain. And these are the crops: cucumber, that is summer crop, and they're doing beautifully, and the chili. Then in the tunnel there are two kind of tunnel. One in the ventilated side ventilated, and the side and top ventilated. Here you can see just the side opening, and that is openable, closable with the folding sheet, and here open top and the side one closed. Then shade net houses. Are used for the nursery as well as the production, and they protect from the excess radiation primarily, and then also make favorable microclimate for the plants. And they are cheaper as compared to the naturally ventilated or front pad polyhouses, high-tech polyhouses. And the number of crops can be grown like a capsicum, cherry tomato, and tomato. Specifically, capsicum with the can be grown. But for these kind of shade net nursery, these are good for the nurseries, but not good for the high value crops. The some flower crops can be raised, which has no very much particular demand of the temperature. Then in shade net, single layered shade net and the double layered shade net, one mono net or insect net on the top and the side, and the one movable net inside the at the gutter height. And then the insect net house, further these can be used for the nursery and production of vegetable and ornamental crops. And then these like the huge nurseries business are going on under the insect net house near Himmatnagar and the area. We can see a lot of nurseries are there, and they are primarily having such kind of a structure. And they also have a fan pad structure when they want to have a nursery raising, particularly during summer. Then the most commercial one, the naturally ventilated polyhouse. So far in India, almost 95% polyhouses are naturally ventilated polyhouse because of economical and then less or no energy demands to operate them, and the cost varies from 850 to 900 per square meter, and here the wide opening that is around 3.5 to 4 meter. Normally earlier 2.5 to 3 meters side vent was there, but now it has increased to 4 meters to have better ventilation, because then again on the top ventilation. So in total we require 25 to 30% ventilation to have a avoid the buildup of high humidity and heat inside the greenhouse. This is the fan pad polyhouse, and where temperature can be brought down to a greater extent. Like during summer when we have temperature 48 degrees Celsius, we are able to bring down them to 36, 37 degrees Celsius, so that we can grow any crop we need to grow, like a tomato, cherry tomato, cucumber. Specifically, cucumbers are very good crop for the greenhouse in these areas, unlike the area where we have a good demand of flowers and the very congenial climate like a Pune, Bangalore, where floriculture business is done in the protected structures. And earlier, they start off protected cultivation in India under plain condition, especially in Pune, which started in 90s, was primarily for rose, cut roses. Then gerbera came, then carnation and other flowers started growing. Now orchid, anthurium in hills, these are being grown inside the protected structure. But the protected cultivation commercial way, it got growing cut flowers in Pune areas, in Bangalore, especially the Pune areas, because it was exported. It was good for the export, and export was possible either by plane or ship from there. And this is the hybrid greenhouse where developed at IRI, and Dr. Avni Singh will be talking about this, and I took this picture from there. So there, they have made provision of natural ventilation, and also the cooling fan pad system. And the top you can close, and the side also can close. Then you can run the exhaust fan and pad, so the cooling can be obtained. So this is the hybrid of the two different kind of systems, naturally ventilated and fan pad system. Then retractable roof type, particularly, they are very common in the cold areas, or very even in Pune and Bangalore can run, where temperature is not very much high, and here the height of the structure is a bit more than what we have here. And this is two-side cooling. Dr. Khapte will be talking about the design, so I'm not going into detail. And this is the most latest things happening in the world of greenhouse cultivation is the Krauss retractable roof greenhouse. This is you can have a both kind of climate, microclimate inside the structure, the open as well as the closed polyhouse greenhouse, because this screen can be completely closed or open, and it is reinforced plastics. It can bear the weight of 1 ton if not appointed but spread. So 10 people, they can stand over and can walk. This is so much strong. And then this lasts for 12 to 15 years as quoted by the company, but it is very costly structure so far, because none project means less than 1 crore. Even 1 acre structure cost more than 1 crore. So always 10 acre plus structures are preferred for this kind of system. There are one already in Simply Fresh, and the another one is going on at near Mathura. So we hope that this kind of a structure will be done. The Simply Fresh 15-acre crabos structure greenhouse cultivation systems are there. This is completely autonomous system where they have a rainwater harvesting, they have a solar energy and everything, and like a world-class facility they are having. They have branded their own product, and the Simply Fresh stores are there in Hyderabad. And these are the husband wife. They are an engineer. They worked for several years in Dubai. Then they moved to India, and then they started this venture. And the last year only it opened. Not last year, in 2020 only, during COVID period, this was fully functional, came in function. So what are the use of protected cultivations? Although I have covered some, like growing fruits, vegetable, cut flowers, commercial nursery production, hardening of tissue culture plants, soil cultivation, vertical farming of plant factory, drying of vegetables and spices, advance the progeny lines, and during off season, hybrid seed production and so on. These are the common vegetable crops which are commercially grown under protected conditions. Tomato at the world level, tomato is the leading one. However, cucumber is the leading one in our country, followed by capsicum. And cherry tomatoes, brinjal, karela, cucumber, beans, gherkin, melons, bottle gourd. Dr. Avni Singh will be showing you the different vegetables they tried at IRI. This is the protected cultivation facility at Kajri, Jodhpur, in which we are conducting research. And these are some crops, glimpses of the crops we grew here and we have been growing. Now capsicum, tomatoes are field, and cucumber. Beans we tried, and cherry tomatoes. These are double stem training. Just I want to give you one example which we tried, and it really is good, because in our country it's very common in Netherlands, particularly in hydroponic system, rock based and on grafted means on the root stocks. But we found here you can see the production was more than 50% higher in this case, 42% on an average, but in one variety it goes to 62%, and another one 24, so average is 42%. So by pinching off and obtaining 2 stems, it's simple and anybody can take, and training like this, and then we can have a production, good production. Protected cultivation for commercial nursery. Nursery is very important, as Shukla sir has also mentioned, and the protected cultivation is the basics of the good producing healthy and good nursery. The farmer is producing chili nursery, and this is on the ground cover, and it's on the benches. Any vegetable, any seedlings can be grown, and depending on the vegetable species, there are the size of pro trays or plug trays, whether it is 98 cell, 10 cell, or 50 cells, 2 inches, or 1 inches for approximate 1 inch is 32 mm. For cold crops, chili, tomato, and solanaceous crop, and for cucurbits, 2 inches cells are required. And one thing to highlight, the pyramid shape one is the better than the round shape one, because of root pruning facilitate better root development like this. This is the grafted seedlings, and these are the cucumber grafted onto the squash hybrids, and these are the tomato grafted seedlings at our farm. Protected cultivation to increase resource use efficiency, particularly as we know the land, yes, by increasing the yield, we can have a better use efficiency of the land, but also water, because by with the help of protecting cover, we can minimize around 20% evaporative losses. And then further, this goes to further. So as compared to the open field cultivation, where around 300 liters of water is required to produce 1 kg tomato, just 30 liters water is required under the modern greenhouses, whereas in tunnels 100 liters per to produce 1 kg. Why in Indian University, they did a research, Sengali and all, and they found that the could grow 1 kg tomato from 4 liters of water, merely 4 liters of water, but it is very most intensive system where they have recirculating systems, and the wastewater further they reused after UV sterilization, so it went to the 4 liters. But normally they get good water use efficiency around 10 liters to produce 1 kg tomato. It's in common greenhouses there, and I will tell you we are around at 30 liters per hour per kg tomato. And in hydroponic lettuce in general, 10 liter water is enough to produce 1 kg lettuce as compared to 40 liters in the normal greenhouse. These are the hydroponic conditions. So protected cultivation for hydroponics. For hydroponics, greenhouse is very essential component. And why hydroponics? Because it saves a lot of water. Just we require 5 to 10% of water that required in the normal greenhouses, and the very less space is required. We can stake plants in shelves or some anything. Any kind of mechanism we can create, and the less labor is required because it's essentially have automation system, less pesticides because it's completely covered and controlled environment. Early harvest is possible. For example, lettuce, that is the most important crop grown in the hydroponics, and the growing cycle can be reduced by up to 50% with the manipulation of artificial lights, targeting those spectrum like a blue and the red. 450 and 650, 632, 650, and then range that increases the biomass and production. Then high quality, of course, the safe and clean produce, and less environmental pollution because of less leaching of the nutrients in the soil profile and going to the waste and polluting the. So it is not possible, and since we are not using pesticides and many things, so and the less water, so it is great to the environment. Today, about 3.5% of the total area under protected cultivation worldwide is for vegetable production and the soilless techniques. And in the soilless or hydroponics, there are two kinds. One is substrate, another one is solution culture without substrate. So in substrate, there's you can use like a sands, perlite, or cocoa slabs. Most common is the cocoa based, whether it is trough or the slabs. Some farmers are also around Jodhpur growing cucumber in the bags and filling with and also in Himmatnagar area, farmers are doing this kind of business. Then in trough, in the pot, but with cocoa chips. I saw in I think Germany, there was a farm which is growing gerbera and strawberry and other things in cocoa chips. So, and the Dutch bucket system is just again substrate culture. This is good recirculating, but it is not good for the commercial scale, because once you have some problem like related to roots, then you have a recirculating system and chance of infecting the others. For a small scale, it is good. But for larger area like acres and acres, then it is not good. But for a small 500 square meter or so, but having separate container means systems, so that you can avoid the infection, or if it occurs. It occurs when there is a failure of something. So Ebbs and flow technique, that is called fill and drain. Like at one end we put water and it goes, and from sub irrigation the pots take up the water, whatever media is used, and then plants it growing. So plants are not in direct getting water from upside, but they are getting water from the bottom. So we have bottom hole, and it through capillary action the water goes up. Raft culture is also, or deep water culture. This is very simple, simplest of the hydroponic system. It's a tank. What you need, it is not so simple. Just simple is with having a good aeration facility in this, and the depth should not be more than 1 feet. So 1 foot. So this is simple. and just having a oxygenation, then you can grow. Anybody can grow, and this is very common in the. It is common, and it has been used in researchers in the lab, especially for those who is trying to do some salinity testing, some metal testing, nutrient. They can manipulate and have different containers and conduct a research to really know the contents of the minerals in the plant body, or the deficiency symptoms for any targeted nutrients. A small structure can be created for different treatments. Then nutrient film technique, this is recirculating system. Dr. Kapte is here. Largely when he was here, we conducted this study and we fabricated this kind of structure. And this is nutrient film technique, where just cocoa balls or gravels are put in the net pot, and the plants are planted. And this is just 17 or 18 days old pak choi. So green leafy vegetables, this kind of system is okay. It's good, but be sure for the students or young entrepreneurs, if you have a good market, then only go for this. Otherwise, at home scale it is good, but not for the commercial scale, because it is very expensive. And one calculation is done by the Delhi people, and this is at Delhi, and we used to communicate during the growing, and I visited 2 times. They calculated around 125 rupees per kg is the production cost. If they sell less than 200 kg, so you are not going to get at that. This is aeroponic again solution culture. It's the simple, just you have a spray inside, and then the roots take the nutrients, and they are thoroughly wet and take nutrients from the mist, so they grow. And this is the vertical farm, and this at Jodhpur, one of our entrepreneurs, he tried it strawberry. This was the first crop. There was some failure in the system, so it was dying. The day I visited, this was like this, not very good. But again, he got the solution and changed, and now running. So this is the rotary hydroponics or aeroponics, like a future space farm concept. And this is the real, and things are happening around the world, and particularly in Singapore, USA, Canada, Netherlands, and the UK. And in India, we hope it is not so much needed, but maybe somebody will come with this much high-tech facility, although it's at a small level. It is going on in Mumbai, Pune, and Delhi. So this is completely controlled. Even light is controlled, and the light is given as per the requirement of the crop and the growth stage. And these are the examples: New Jersey, UAE, Singapore. And what I was talking about, the 2 spectrum, 460 nanometer blue spectrum and the red, these are the most important, which help to in the photosynthetic activities. And part of green and the part of IR and UVB is also now being considered useful for photosynthetic activities. And vertical farming around the world is going like anything. You see, 2013 and 2020, and expected in 2023 it is. So exponential growth is being observed, or it is supposed to be happen. And Singapore airline partners, they started doing this, and now they before lockdown, it was in news that they are self-sufficient in providing the flight customers from their own produce at airport, this vertical farm. And then there are certain issues in cultivation under protected cultivation, like soil-borne diseases occurrence. It is very prevalent, and because of intensive production system, nematodes, in particularly in sandy soils, insects, high or low temperatures, salinity because of the continuous growing and with the saline water. So because there is no chance of good quality water or the leaching of water. So that's why we recommend the farmers, when they are going for the changing the plastics, they should go after rain. One rain in 3-4 years, if the plastic house or polyhouse gets, then there is chance of complete almost leaching of the salts. So we have observed it that, and we have compared the performance under net house and the polyhouse. So in net house, every year you have a rain, so you have a leaching of the salts, excess salts. But in case of the polyhouse, it is not. So it is essential to change the plastics after rain only. Then alkalinity, excess and poor radiation. And the second, the developed cultivars which can resist or tolerate to particular environment. That is unfortunately there is very less commercial variety or cultivar is available which can tolerate or resist the biotic or abiotic stresses, and having at the same time good yield, horticultural yield. And developing cultivars has been in practice but for years, but it is very difficult to integrate the traits of particularly abiotic stress with the high quality attributes of horticultural traits like yield with the high temperature. It is very difficult because the abiotic traits are governed by the multiple genes. So one tool that is grafting, it is very good and innovative, not very innovative, but it has been practiced for centuries in horticultural crops, but in vegetables it's new. So the students, we all know that this is an art of connecting two pieces of living plant tissues of different genetic backgrounds and make them one single plant that has a quality of two different plants. One that is a rootstocks with the resistant root system for particular or target stress, and another one is the commercial varieties. Let's say Arka Rakshak. It is good, high yielding, but it is having susceptibility to the drought or salinity. So we can integrate this trait by way of grafting. As I said, grafting is for centuries in nodeperennial, but specifically to control the vigor, improve yield, quality, and provide tolerance to biotic and biotic stresses. But it is relatively a new innovation in herbaceous plant species, particularly in vegetables, fruiting vegetables. The primary motive of using grafting in vegetable was to control soil-borne diseases. Now it is also being practiced to alleviate abiotic stresses. The brick in vegetable grafting means grafting used in vegetable was in 1920s, late 1920s. It was done for the first time, it was done by the farmer who grafted watermelon onto the squash or pumpkin rootstock to by which he got the watermelon resistant to the fusarium wilt, which is a devastating disease in protected cultivation as well as in open when watermelon is grown everywhere in the same soil. So, but major breakthrough was when during the period of phasing out of methyl bromide, because methyl bromide was the most efficient chemical to kill the pathogens pests present in the soil, particularly in intensive cultivation. It is needed. So when during the period of phasing out, then the people, scientists, researchers, they thought about the grafting technology, which used to be used for some year in Korea and Japan, but it was stopped because of some other reasons, difficulty in just doing grafting, but because they had the soil sterilant. But when it was banned, then they moved to this grafting technology. Today, around 30 countries, they use the grafted seedlings in their production. The highest use in Japan, Korea. However, China is the leading one. Almost all 100% watermelon in Japan, Korea, Spain, Italy, Turkey, and Cyprus are grown with the grafted seedlings. And around 90% greenhouse cucumber, 60 to 65% of tomato and eggplant, and 20 to 14% of the pepper in Japan and Korea are grafted. Highest proportion in Mediterranean countries, and it has become a standard practice in greenhouse production system in the Netherlands, where the main purpose is to increase vigor and the length of the growing cycle and the production, because they take two stems, then they require a vigorous root system. Here we can see the growth of the grafted seedling use, and the countries, the China, followed by Japan, Korea, Spain, Italy. These are the major countries using grafted seedlings in vegetables. And here you see the growth year by year, and Turkey. And today in China, more than 1,500 commercial grafting nurseries are there. And in Turkey, more than 100 vegetable nurseries are there, producing more than 4 billion plants. However, in India, just 1 or 2 cases are there. And uses, this can avoid soil fumigation because I will talk later. It's a good for production, protected cultivation where intensive production system is done, and the home gardener. There are some general issues. Just briefly, I would like to highlight lack of awareness about potential use of grafting in vegetables. Many people, they don't really, they are not aware of the potential of this grafting technology. As we know that this brought a great revolution in grape, apple, and citrus. But vegetables, people think that it's they're skeptical about the grafting technology because it's annual plant requiring large number of grafted seedlings every time. But if we compare the utility and the advantage, then really it is great technology. The wrong notion that grafted plants would always lead to better yield. No, it is not true. We need to test, and the problem is specific rootstock to be used, and the sign rootstock combination to be tested and brought up for cultivation. Then misconception about requiring very high specialized facility and expertise. No, anyone can do. Lack of commercial rootstocks, yes, in our country, it is not there, but some companies have introduced recently. Scientific attitude, treating it as an agronomic practice. Mostly breeders in vegetable research. Most of the people, most of the scientists, they want to develop variety. So, and very few they are in agronomic practices, and the breeder consider this is agronomic practice. No, you can develop rootstock, you can develop inbred lines that can be used to be as rootstocks and give it to the agronomists. So this can be done. Lack of serious effort by public sector, yes. Large and diverse agroclimatic condition. That's why people think that why we need, but we grow, we have a protected cultivation, we have a problem, we need to do. And so prospects in India, in many countries, vegetable grafting is an integral component of vegetable industry. Its application in India is very infancy stage. It can be a boon to tackle regional production issues in very short time, because you just screen the material, they take and graft them, test the graft compatibility, and go on. A great deal of genetic resources are available in our country in different species that can be harnessed as rootstocks, and the conscious efforts need to be directed towards harnessing the potential of available vast and diverse resources for the rootstocks. Some policy aspects like promotion of grafting research, a special call should be there for the funding from the government, from the state, whether it is the state government or central government, or even the like a NAHER project. Some project calls should be there. In-house projects and the student statistics must be encouraged in this direction. R&D in PPP mode. Inclusion in university courses, especially in the graduate and postgraduate syllabus. Reorientation of research on rootstocks development, testing of germplasm for root-specific traits. We have a large number of materials, and the breeders are playing with them, and that can be tested for the root-specific traits so that we can bring out with some good rootstock. A strong extension support mechanism is needed for training and demonstration. Setup of dedicated nursery for vegetable grafting. These are some common vegetables which are grafted across the globe. And the others like pole beans, artichoke also. This is common protocol. Just first grow and cultivars in pro trays, and the root stalks side by side. Then graft, then keep them in healing chamber, healing hardening facility. Then finally into the field. So this is common. These are the three common grafting methods followed in cucurbits: splice, hole insertion, tongue approach. I'm not going into detail because it requires separate lecture. Then isolanaceous, cleft, and tube. Sorry. And grafting with the robots is also possible, and it is done in Japan, Korea, Canada, and some Netherlands. But in 90% nurseries across the globe, they follow manual practice. And this is graft healing facility at our place. Especially for the research purpose, we do like this, where we maintain temperature between 25 to 30 degrees Celsius, and the relative humidity 75 at the last during hardening time, but initially 95 plus %, then 85 to 95%. Then these are some grafting nurseries. They follow the practice to heal the grafted seedling, because just after doing grafting, the seedlings are not allowed to transpire. So that initially they must be covered with the black. In the back you see the black for 2 days, then remove the black cloth or net and allow some amount of light, but humidity should be retained for up to 85 to 90%, even after 4 to 5 days. Initially 95 to 100% for 2 days. So this is the view when they started hardening them. Then we did some capacity building. I think the participants from also Baso, you can see here. So why vegetable grafting is done? It is beautiful technique that help controlling biotic stress, abiotic stress, and also increase the production, earliness, and vigor, yield, and all. We tested this grafting practice on different root stocks in our greenhouses, and we found that these are the non-grafted plants under high pressure disease pressure, soil-borne disease pressure condition, and these are the green one. Those are the grafted plants, but these are non-grafted plants, and they could not survive till the end because of the high soil-borne diseases. And among the soil-borne diseases, we have PTM and microphamina. And featuring built not in the greenhouse and another greenhouse, we had the problem, but here we didn't. So we have almost these root stocks can take care of many diseases. So this is good, and this root stocks comes from the Anandhari seeds, NS55. So this is interspecific hybrid root stocks between cucurbita maxima and mostarda. We are the first who tested these root stocks. We did it for 3.5 years, 4 years back, and continuously we had 3 years experiments, and now they are commercially using this root stocks within the country. Otherwise they were just producing seeds and importing them to the Europe, so exporting them to Europe. And again, for bacterial wilt, there is a report from the USA. They found the good control of for bacterial wilt. These root stocks is produced like a normal, like a 60-70 tons per hectare in normal low tunnel greenhouses, and as compared to the non-grafted, just 15-16 tons. So the increase in yield was 4 times than the normal one. Grafting also gives good solution for the nematode control, as has been depicted by this graph, and this was done by the Reward in US, California, and they tested different root stocks and grafting, and here you see the gall percentage, root knot nematode galling in the normal one, non-grafted and cell grafted, was very high, whereas in case of this particular root stock, that is a big power, there was negligible gall was there, and the yield was, however, the yield was the maximum in Beaufort, which is the next to it. Although some galling was there, but it could tolerate, so that there is no loss, even good yield was obtained. The maxi-port was there. Then it is good solution for soil sterilization. Sometimes farmers think that, and it is recommended that you leave for 15 to 20 days between 2 crops to do good soil sterilization. If it is not summer, then it is very difficult. So how farmer can do this soil sterilization if they want to grow something else? Because the protected cultivation, particularly the greenhouses, big greenhouses, every day, a single day has a value for the growers. So they don't want to really lose a time. And that is why they are suffering with this problem. They are not even leaving their polyhouses during summer for natural solarization. And they want to grow and around the year. They want to take 3 crops of cucumber, 4 crops of cucumber. But either they leave their greenhouse during summer for 2 months, 1.5 months. Otherwise, they go for the soil sterilization, fumigation, using formalin, metam sodium, chlorpicrin. These are the common one, are used commercially. But many farmers, they are not aware of. Either they are aware, they are not aware of properly use of them. And they are also having some environmental issues, health issues. So grafting is a good strategy and a good tool by which we can even avoid this kind of hazards. We can environmental concern and the time we can save. So the cucumber, these are the, you see the fruit yield. Even they are non-fumigated and grafted onto the maxi-fort. And these are the fumigated, these are the non-fumigated. There is no much difference in the yield between fumigated and non-fumigated, means sterilized, non-sterilized. So it gives a good control over whether, if it is not possible to sterilize, then even then the yield level is almost at par. I don't know statistically, but it is almost close to the normal one. Whereas when there is no sterilization, and there is a chance of a decrease in production. Similar is the case for crop rotation, because we do crop rotation to avoid the pathogen, means host specific resistance developed in the particular pest and diseases. So we cut down, we avoid them, then we do crop rotation. But it is not, farmers are not ready to rotate crop. They want to grow cucumber and cucumber and cucumber. They don't want to bring other crops. So okay. So this is a good strategy. With this graph, we can see how it is able to avoid this kind of situation. Similar is the case with the moisture stress. Here you see the advantage of moisture stress. I'm getting call from the Dr. Patel, so I'm a bit hurry up. And here we conducted a study where you see the cucumber 60% less water and just before irrigation, 24 hours after irrigation. Here you can see the wilting in the normal and but in grafted plants. Similar was the case with the tomato. We got good success, and we published what are the mechanisms that governs to bring in plants the greatness against water stress. Then again in flooding resistance, there are some studies that where grafting onto suitable rootstocks have been found beneficial for salinity tolerance to pumpkin, muskmelon. Muskmelon accumulates a lot of sodium, whereas pumpkin no, and also this chloride. Wherever pumpkin was used as rootstock, muskmelon, these are the muskmelon, the content of sodium in the exudates in the soup was lower. But in roots, the concentration of sodium was higher. In shoots, these were not. So here it shows that although they take up the sodium, but they don't allow, means pumpkin, they don't allow to go into the shoots. It is the case of salinity, 4.5 decisiemens, and watermelon. Here the yield increased from 59 to 98 tons per hectare in the grafted plants. Similar in case of the this sodium chloride and calcium chloride toxicity, the production was higher in case of grafted plants. And recently we published one is the mechanism, how does it happen, how the grafting controls the salinity issues, and have better impact on the overall production. Then increasing vigor. Again, here you can see the non-grafted and grafted roots. We also had a good experiment on the suboptimal temperature during winter, where cucumber is somewhat susceptible. So we could get a good result of using fig leaf gourd as rootstock, and we could increase the yield by 38%. And we published how it happened. And then we got a good success in preliminary studies when grafting tomato onto the brinjal rootstocks. It increases the tolerance to high temperature up to 50 degrees Celsius, or we expose them at the time of fruit development. So we found good result. And also in case of cucumber at more than 44 degrees Celsius temperature, we tested at farmers field, and during this 2020 summer only, February to May crop, when temperature reached to 42 degrees Celsius. And here you can see the difference. Non-grafted and grafted plants produce almost 50% more yield. Then also increase in nitrogen use efficiency. Boron toxicity, reduces boron toxicity grafting. Grafting increases heavy metal stress tolerance. We published, we did a series of experiment where we found that it not only reduces increases yield or decreases the yield reduction, but also reduces by 40%, 42% the heavy metal contents in the fruits. because ultimately it is going to the human body. And again, in case of nickel stress, grafting increases the yield. And grafting on tomato grafting on potato, it is beautiful for home gardener. And recently someone grafted a tomato and the brinjal and chili on one root stock, that is beautiful for home gardener. So these are some commercial root stocks available across, not in India, but in other parts of the world. We hope that we will get soon, because I'm keep on writing. And these are the root stocks from VNR, and some root stocks we have made a selection. We have, and some other institutions related to the vegetable grafting. And the use of, we are expecting this research is, demonstrate that using up to 10% blackening means solar panels can be fixed on the top without compromising with the yield. But we hope that we will have an embedded solar cell embedded plastics. This is the steam solarization, came from Italy. They are having machine which introduce steam and cover the plastic mulch. So this is very sustainable way of doing, but it's very costly, 35 lakhs rupees machine. I inquired the cost. So general issues related to protected cultivation is high establishment cost of polyhouse and solar gadgets used for this particular venture. Emerging soil-borne pathogen and nematodes, high technical skill involved, lack of facilities for adequate training, poor availability of accessories and fabricators, and poor hand-holding to the farmers. It is issues when company erect the polyhouse, then they left. And even the government, the subsidy providers, limitation in changing design and size in subsidy projects. It is very conclusion, protected cultivation is cultivation increases productivity and resource use efficiency, and appropriate design and crop management strategies are required for that. And grafting relieves responses to stresses and the use of chemicals when appropriate sand root stock combinations are used. Future thrust, region-specific design development, solar cell embedded cladding material, development of specialist cultivar for protected cultivation, development of resistant root stocks, especially the nematodes, specialized training for grassroots workers, farmers, exposure visit, and sanitization program, courses on repair and management of protected cultivation, drip irrigation, automation, crop agronomy consultant development is required. Subsidies on soluble fertilizers and other critical inputs, flexibility in design and size in subsidy-based projects, FPOs formation and e-marketing channels. These are the some success story protected cultivation near our area. Thank you very much for patient hearing. Any question, query? I think I'm in time. I hope so. 11:30. I was given up to 11:30.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a really extremely informative session. Sir, we received one question from our participant side. That is, can the farmers having small land holding afford these protected structures?
Yeah, small farmers, I showed different protected structures are there. You can start from mulching, low tunnel. He can go for a low tunnel just during winter to have an early summer crop. Then if he can afford, they can go for a low tunnel. Even net houses, there are cable and post net house systems. I think Dr. Kapte will be covering. The cable and post net house structure, although they are not covered in the subsidy, but it is very, very cheap, 200 to 250 rupees per square meter. We have installed 1 hectare area at farmers field here, and it is half of the cost of the net house that is run by the means normal price of the protected structure. So it is done even in 1 biga, 500 square meter, 1000 square meter, whatever scale farmers want, that can be developed and they can grow wonderfully.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
Now I request Dr. Gautam Patel, sir, for giving vote of thanks.
Thank you, IOC. Very good morning to one and all present here. On the occasion of inaugural function of one-day online seminar on protected cultivation for enhancing resource use efficiency and productivity of horticultural crops, jointly organized by College of Agriculture, Vaso, and Naheb Caste, AU Anand. It gives me an immense pleasure to express my sincere thanks to Dr. R.V. Vassar, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Anand Agriculture University. Today, he is unable to attend the seminar due to some other unavoidable circumstances, but he approved this online seminar on our first proposal, and for that, I express a big thank to him. Dr. Prabhat Kumar, National Coordinator of Naheb Caste, ICR New Delhi, for facilitating the center. I would like to give my hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest of today's function and keynote speaker, Dr. Pradeep Kumar, who is senior scientist in Division of Integrated Farming System, ICR Kazri Jodhpur, for accepting our request to be present in this online seminar and their valuable lecture. I am thankful to Dr. Y.M. Shukla sir, Principal, College of Agriculture, Vaso, for their support and encouragement. I express my sincere thanks to today's distinguished speaker, Dr. Pratap Singh Khapte, Scientist, School of Water Stress Management, National Institute of Abiotic Stress Management, Malegaon, Maharashtra, Dr. Nitin Shah, Principal and Dean, College of Horticulture, Anand Agriculture University, Anand, and Dr. Avni Kumar, Principal Scientist, IARI, New Delhi, for from different walks of life. They will share their knowledge and vast experience with the participants. All the scientists consented to deliver lecture in spite of their tiring schedule. Once again, I am very thankful to all speakers. I am also thankful to Dr. Y.C. Jala sir, Principal and Dean, IABMI, AU Anand, for gracing the occasion at this moment. I express my heartfelt thanks to Dr. R.S. Pundir, Professor and PI, Dr. Y.A. Lad, co-PI Naheb Caste, AU Anand, and my colleague and friend, Dr. Himanshu Patel, Dr. Nilesh Pawar, Ayushi Darji, and Bhavik Patel, and Team Naheb Caste, Anand. Thank you, one and all, who are involved for the success of this event. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Ayushi.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we are going to start the technical sessions of this online seminar. I would like to introduce first our first guest speaker, Dr. Pratap Singh Khapte. He has completed his master's in vegetable science in 2011 from UAS Bengaluru, Karnataka. After that, he pursued his PhD from vegetable science from TNAU Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. After that, he started his career with the job of scientist at ICR NAM, Hyderabad, Telangana, and ICR Kazri, Jodhpur, Rajasthan. Currently, he is working as a scientist at Vegetable Science, School of Water Stress Management, ICR, National Institute of Abiotic Stress Management, Baramati, Pune, Maharashtra. He is the recipient of silver medal for standing second in university at graduation level by MPKV Rahuri, and Best Poster Award in International Symposium on Horticulture and First Vegetable Science Congress by ICR, IBR Varanasi. And he is also recipient of Best Oral Presentation Award in National Conference on Agriculture Resource Management for Atmanirbhar Bharat by CAU Imphal in the year 2020. He is the life member of Horticultural Society of India, New Delhi, Arid Zone Research Association of India, ICR Kazri, Jodhpur, Rajasthan, Indian Society of Arid Horticulture, Bikaner, and Society of Agriculture Research on Abiotic Stress. With this, I request Dr. P.S. Khapte, sir, to start the session. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Whether I am audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
And I hope my presentation is also visible.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yes. Then, so first of all, I would like to thank the patterns of today's online seminar, Dr. Vyas sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Anand Agriculture University, Dr. R.C. Agrawal sir, then convener of today's online seminar, Dr. R.S. Pandir sir, then the organizing secretary, then the coordinators of today's online seminar. I'm very thankful for providing this opportunity to me to deliver lecture as a guest speaker on the topic design and construction of different types of protected structures. So I will straight away go to my presentation, design and construction of different type of protected structures. So first of all, I will give some basic information about the protected structure. What are the protected structures? So it is a frame structure covered with transparent material. It might be glass, polythene, or net houses, nets, in which crops are grown under control or semi-controlled environment condition. And these protected structures create favorable microclimate which favors the crop production and where crops can be grown around the year. Basically, the concept of protected cultivation in India came from the northern hemisphere countries because the genesis of protected cultivation started from northern hemisphere in European countries to control the low temperature during the snow period. So the primary objective in the northern hemisphere it was to control the low temperature and provide heating to overcome the extreme cold condition in those countries. But in India, the scenario is something different. India has very specific climatic zones starting from temperate, subtropical, and tropical condition, and major part of India have high temperature and radiation conditions. So we need cooling to mitigate the excess temperature during summer season, and also the control intense radiation by providing some shade net or some cladding material. But we do not, in Indian condition, we do not enhance the carbon dioxide level in polyhouse. What in northern hemisphere or European or American countries they follow. And we have most probably some semi-climate control greenhouses for production. So, what are the advantages of growing under protected cultivation? So, it protects from extreme conditions like high wind velocity, intense radiation, might be sunlight, or hot, intense radiation, or low temperature in North Indian plains. During this season, the temperature goes below 10 degrees Celsius, which is not favorable for cucurbitaceous crops. And it provides favorable microclimatic conditions like maintains temperature, relative humidity, and then carbon dioxide level. And it also extends the growing season. The harvesting window is extended when we go through product cultivation, and also can be grown vegetables or most of the other crops can be grown around the year and also in the off season. So farmers can fetch good remuneration or income during the off season because the price of the commodities are higher in off season. And protected structures, we can overcome the ill hazards from the animals or stray animals or birds or most of the biotic factors which affect the crop production. In protective cultivation, the yield enhancement is 2 to 3 times higher than the open field condition, and the income per unit area is very high. And the vegetables or any produce which is grown under protected cultivation have very superior quality compared to the open field condition, which is rust free and also have uniform color and shape and size. These are the quality parameters which we physically judge the produce while purchasing the any fresh produce. And in protected conditions, we get high efficiency of inputs, most probably the water and nutrients. They have in protected cultivation there is very high water efficiency and nutrient efficiency, and it also provides employment to the locals. If the protected cultivation come up in big scale, it will provide employment generation opportunity to the local population. And recently, the most of the educated youths are coming into this business. They are taking the protected cultivation as a business venture. They are erecting these protected structures in hectares, number of hectares, and growing very good crops under protected cultivation. Then some basics of greenhouse I will go through. Classification of the greenhouses or protected structures. It is based on the cost, whether they might be low tech, medium tech, or high tech. In low tech, the cost varies from 600 to 900 per square meter. There comes shade net house or some natural ventilated polyhouses. In medium tech, semi-climate controlled polyhouses like fan pad also comes having establishment cost in the range of 2000 to 2500 rupees per square meter. And the another based on the cost high-tech structures nowadays fan pad, some retracting roof dive. Already my previous speaker Dr. Pradeep Kumar have mentioned about this cryo retracting roof type of structures. They are somewhat costly, but in long run they are very profitable and they are more what we can say the climate resilient structures. Then this protected structure based on the shape also can be classified as cone shape, curved or gable roof. Based on the glazing or cladding material used, it can be classified as a glass covered or fiber glass reinforced plastic or plastic frame, which is very common structure like use of ultraviolet low density polythene frame of 200 micron. This is most common protected glazing material used in Indian condition. Then based on this span, structures can also classify in single span or multiple span. And based on the environment control, either naturally ventilated or passive ventilated. In passive ventilated, the fan pad structures comes in passive ventilated. So this is the structure of the layout of product structure. In greenhouses, we can see there comes a fan pad type, the naturally ventilated type or walk-in tunnel types. So these are grouped under greenhouses. Under insect net houses, there might be we can classify based on mesh size, either 40 mesh or 60 mesh, or based on the net color, white color, pearl color, whatever the net color is. Among these shade net houses, this shade net houses or shade net structures can be classified based on the shading factor, whether 30% shading or 50% shading or 60% shading, based on the purpose. If you go for 60 to 70% shading, those are used for nursery purposes. If you go for less than 50%, we can go for crop production. And based on the colors also they can be classified either green color shade net house or white color shade net house, or some hybrid mixed type of nets are also used. Inside we can use insect proof net, on the top we can use these perforated shade nets. And another last one is low tunnel. These are the portable structures either made up of polythene or non-woven fabrics. So these are the broad, these are the view of the different structure. This one is fan pad polyhouse. Then this type is naturally ventilated polyhouse. Then this middle one is insect proof net house, and this one is shaded house, either big green, white, black, whatever it is. Based on the purpose and location, the color of the net changes. And this is one of the most advanced protected structure has been created at ICR, Central Land Geology Institute, Jodhpur. This structure is recently established, and we have visited most of the greenhouses in India. From those, we have created our own specification where we try to incorporate most of the features in the structure to where we can use less energy to control the climate in the structure. So we have overhead sprinkler, then overhead pop-up fans, then this top ventilated fans, and in summer season we can run this fan. Also we have some naturally ventilated provision in these structures. When temperature is less than 30 degrees Celsius, these windows can be open up. So this is one of the most advanced structure established at Kadri, Jodhpur in 1200 square meter area. So coming to the components of naturally ventilated polyhouse. So naturally ventilated polyhouse is cladded with low density polythene film of 200 micron. Nowadays, 5 to 7, more than 5 layers polythene film is coming, which is UV stabilized. This is the arch of the structure, which has top vent of 0.8 to 1.2 meter height and built according to the length of the structure. These are the bracings, these are the gutters, and this is rollable sheet of same 200 micron. During low temperature or rainy season, we can roll down to where the outside temperature is very low. And it is covered with 40 mesh insect net, having length of 2.5 to 3 meter for proper side ventilation. So the cool air comes from the side this net. The warm air get escape from the top ventilation. And we have apron of nearly 1 meter height from the ground level. The purpose of this apron during night time when plant reduces the when exhales plants do respiration, it releases carbon dioxide, and that carbon dioxide gets saturated below this 1 meter depth. Because CO2 is somewhat heavier gas, it gets saturated from ground to 1 meter height. So in next day, plant can easily utilize this carbon dioxide when the photosynthetic process started during morning hours. So that is the basic purpose of using apron. Even it can be used in net houses also. So already these are the different types of structure like walking tunnels, having different crops like muskmelon, chili, and tomatoes. And this is hybrid type of structure, fan and pad type. In summer season, in normal season like rainy season or winter season, we can use only side ventilators and top ventilators, which are rollable. And during summer season, we can close down this side vents and top vent, and we can use this fan pad structure. So it is a mix of fan pad and naturally ventilated type of structure. And naturally ventilated structures can also be classified based on the ridge opening. In India, mostly single side ridge opening is there because we have mostly wind blowing from the southwest part of the southeast direction. So we have single side orientation. The opening will be in leeward direction, that is eastern side, and the orientation of the structure is from north-south direction. And this two-side opening will have more ridge ventilation. This is also known as butterfly type. This is mostly in India. We can see some models of this type of structures, but in Mexico and South American countries, this type of structures are very much popular in those regions. And coming to the most advanced type of protected structures like retracting roof type of structure, having side opening, but their erection cost is very high. So this butterfly shape retracting type cost about 800 rupees per square meter initial erection cost. It is very high compared to our natural ventilated polyhouse, which is 800 to 900 rupees per square meter. So, and this is the most advanced type of protected structure of cryo, which cost nearly 4,000 rupees per meter square if we go for more than 5 acres. If we go for larger area, the cost per unit area of erection cost per unit area also reduces simultaneously. And the another type of protected structures are low tunnels. So these are the miniature structures producing greenhouse-like gas effect. They entrap the carbon dioxide, thereby enhancing the photosynthetic activity and protecting plants from harsh climatic conditions such as low temperature during this period from December to January in North Indian plains, where temperature falls below 10 degrees Celsius, and also protect from wind or hailstorm, and most suitable for early season cucurbits cultivation in North Indian plains. And this type of non-wind type of fabrics is very suitable for cultivation in summer season, especially for chili crop. Even in Gujarat also, this type of structures are mostly followed in non-wind fabric low tunnels. It also protects from hostile or high temperature. So these are basic portable structures and very easy to install and also to remove. Then coming to the planning for greenhouse, first of all, site selection is one of the most important criteria for greenhouse. The soil should be well drained and it should be connected to the roads for easy transportation of the product, means produce or vegetable, whatever produce you are cultivating in the greenhouse, it should be well connected to the road for easy transportation, then having good quality of water, then good electricity connection, and also for communication purpose, it should be shadow free and having wind breaks. If is more prone to the winds, the area if it is more prone to wind break is must in those type of area while planning the greenhouse. And also scope for further expansion. If in future have planned to expand the area, there should be some area left for further expansion, and also the ability of manpower in those areas. So greenhouse should be constructed at least 3 times from the height of the obstruction from the east, west, and southern direction. And windbreak should be at least 30 meters away from the all side to minimize the adverse effect of the wind on the structure. So, based on the orientation, the solar radiation and wind movements should be taken into consideration. If somebody wants to establish a single span greenhouse, the east-west orientation is more suitable for those type of structures. And if somebody is going for multi-span greenhouse, a series of structures, then north-south orientation is very best. Where vent opening should be in eastern direction, that is river direction, for easy ventilation of warm air, escape of warm air from the greenhouse. And the bed should be parallel to the gutter side, that is similar north-south direction. So plants, rows can enjoy the sunshine from east to west, as the sun moves from eastern to west, east to west direction. The both sides of the vine or any crop will get equal amount of radiation. And the slope of the greenhouse should be lengthwise it should be 0 to 2%, and widthwise it should be 1 to 1.5%. And the width of gutter should be maximum 40 meter maximum, and means the length of gutter, and width should be in 40 to 100 ratio. So in naturally ventilated, everybody's mind while erection of any polyhouse, the first question arises: how much length should be taken into consideration? The most ideal length for naturally ventilated polyhouse are 40 to 45 meter width. If the bigger the length of the greenhouse, width of the greenhouse, the temperature buildup will be more. And in case of fan and pad greenhouse, the width should be 25 to 30 meter. So there will be ideal cooling of the structure in case of fan pad polyhouse. And the height of structures in naturally ventilated polyhouse should be 6 to 6.5 meter, and gutter height should be in the range of 4 to 4.5 meter height. In case of fan and pad polyhouse, it should be 4.5 to 5 meter, and gutter height should be 3 to 3.5 meter. So the gutter height, the difference between gutter height and ridge height should be not more than 1.5 meter. So higher is the greenhouse height, it will be more prone to the get damaged by the wind or wind's velocity or wind load exerted on the structure. So this point should be taken into consideration while erection of these structures. Then ventilation, it is one of the most important aspect of naturally ventilated polyhouse in Indian scenario, because most of the structures are naturally ventilated polyhouses. So this is side vent, which is rollable one, should be of aerodynamic shape and having 3 to 3.5 meter width. So it should be nearly 18 to 20% of floor area. So this is basic thumb rule of any naturally ventilated polyhouse. Your side vent should be nearly 20% of your floor area, and your roof vent should be 10 to 12% of your floor area. So this point should be taken into consideration. Higher is the ventilation, the better the microclimate control will be there in this naturally ventilated polyhouse in Indian conditions. Coming to design of the structure, While designing any protected structures, different loads should be taken into consideration, like dead loads, some permanent construction items like cladding, heating, or cooling equipments, or water pipes, or foggers, or whatever pipes they are permanent in nature. So these loads should be taken into consideration while designing the structure. Then live load, like the person working on the structure or any hanging baskets or shelves. So this should be 20 kg per meter square, maximum up to 20 kg per meter square. Live load should be there on the structure. And the wind load, so structure should stand maximum of 110 km per hour of wind speed. So, and snow load in Indian condition, it does not matter more, but in temperate region, the snow load is also one of the most critical aspect which is taken into consideration while designing the greenhouse. The greenhouse should be fabricated out of galvanized iron because they have a long shelf life, long life of structure, which do not rust like a normal MS iron. And the foundation should be the 1 meter depth, nearly the 1/3 of height. So whatever may be the height of, either it is of column height or gutter support height, the pole should go 1/3 meter, one third of the length in the foundation with plain cement concrete in the ratio of 1:4:8. And the vertical pole should be covered to the height of 60 centimeter by the plain cement concrete with thickness of 5 centimeter. This avoids the rusting of poles in long run. So coming to the different components of the greenhouse, roof or cladding material, it is transparent cover or glazing material used for greenhouse, gutters which collects and drains water, and in case of temperate region, it collects snow, and column, these are the vertical structure members carrying the greenhouse structure, which are the main part of the greenhouse. Then purlins, the members which connect the cladding supporting parts to the column. Ridge is the highest horizontal section, the top of the roof. Then girders, some bracings, which supports the structures against winds. Some arch, the member supporting the cladding metal, the top arch. Then foundation pipe connecting between the structure and the ground. And the span width, center to center distance of gutter in multi-span greenhouses. So these are the different components of greenhouses. In the typical greenhouses, here you can see in the pictorial form how the different members are placed in a protected structure. Then if you want to construct a greenhouse of 500 square meter area, so these are the particular specifications required. So this is design of the structures of having width of 20 meter and length of 28 meter with area of 560 meters square. So these are the design, and the foundation should be of telescopic type. Here we can see the foundation having 3 feet pole of 60 mm diameter, and the column pole of 76 mm diameter is fixed over this 60 mm pole. So it should be have some space. So even the wind velocity will be there, some wind pressure will be there. The structure should just have some movement, but it should not bend. So that's why this much 60 to 76 difference is there. So these are the knockdown type of structures. So it will just like rebound after some wind. Even wind comes, the structure will just rebound. It will not bend or damage due to the wind. So that's why this telescopic structure is followed in Indian conditions. These are the different structural members, the columns. These are the outer diameters of the different members of the structural components. But all the structures, all the GI pipes used in the greenhouses should be having more than 2 mm thickness. So these are the standards, and we can check cross checks also. If column is 76 mm diameter and thickness is 2 mm, so it should be weight per meter of length should be 3.75 kg. So these are particular standards of the GI pipes or GI members or material used in the greenhouse. So while checking this, we can check easily whether this much diameter length with this much thickness having this much weight per meter. So this is for authentication of the structure while erection. Coming to the percent cost of the different items used in the greenhouse, the major share of greenhouse erection goes to the galvanized iron pipes, which is nearly 50% of the erection cost, because they are permanent structures having 20 to 25 years of life and which do not get rust. And then secondly, the major cost is of polythene film, which is nearly 20%. Then other like profiles and like gutters, then fixtures, then inside some mobile shaded is also used in Indian tradition. Then labor, transport and overhead charges is nearly up to 20%. So these are the different breakup of the breakup cost of different items of the greenhouse structures. These are the different components like galvanized iron profile. Nowadays it is GI profile or aluminum profile. GI profile get hits when temperature rises. GI profile get hits and it also damages the polythene. But nowadays aluminum profile is also used. But every component has its own advantages and disadvantages. Aluminum profile is very good. It do not rust as compared to GI profile, but it do not have that much strength like GI profile. Then some zigzag springs are also used. Nowadays, some plastic coated zigzag springs are also used, which do not get heated or damage the polythene. Then there's curtain clamps, tensioners, and then eye buckle. GI buckles are used for erecting the overhead wires for supporting the vines or crops inside the greenhouse. These are different clamps, GI clamps, self-driving screw. These are the different items used while erection of the greenhouse structures. Then coming to the most important part of the this protective cultivation is ventilation. So to reduce the air temperature when it becomes too high, and it also renews the supply of carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. So most important aspect of ventilation is to renew the carbon dioxide supply. As the plant inside the greenhouse structure utilizes the CO2, but it is renewed through ventilation. And warm air is also get escaped from the top vent, and the cool air or ambient air comes from the side vents. It also reduces the relative humidity in greenhouse as a means of controlling diseases. Because high humidity, there will be high buildup of fungal diseases. So this is the basic purpose of ventilation. Coming to the microclimate of the protected structure, the ideal light intensity should be between 30 to 100 lux to 1,29,000 lux. Above or below this range, it is not ideal for plant growth. The optimum, it should be 32,000 lux, which is nearly 600 micromole per meter square in photosynthetic active radiation, which can be measured through line quantum sensors. And the carbon dioxide now it goes up to 400 ppm in ambient air, and in greenhouse it increases 5 to 10 times due to entrapment during night time. This increases the photosynthetic rate nearly 15 times compared to open field condition where CO2 is not trapped during night time. The crop yield can increase by 20 to 30% when CO2 level is maintained at 1000 to 1500 ppm. But in Indian condition, we do not have much provision, or we can say we do not maintain this type of this much CO2 concentration in greenhouses. In European and other Western countries, they maintain this much CO2 concentration in the greenhouse due to CO2 using CO2 generators. And temperature, the optimum temperature for most of the greenhouse crop is in the range of 16 to 30 degrees Celsius, and maximum temperature it should not go beyond 35 to 40 degrees Celsius in summer season. and the minimum soil temperature should be 15 degrees Celsius for optimum root activity. And relative humidity should be nearly 70 to 80%. So if humidity is higher than 80%, then there will be chances of fungal diseases. If humidity is lesser than less than 50 or 40%, then there will be lot of transpiration pool, loss of water from the plants. So this is one of the study we conducted at ICR Kazri. We had three different type of structure: naturally evented polyhouse, insect group net house, and shade net house. And we recorded microclimatic parameters like air temperature and relative humidity in three different stages of cucumber crop during vegetative stage, reproductive stage, and fag end stage. We found that naturally insect group net house has always high temperature compared to shade net house and naturally evented polyhouse in all the crop stages. And in case of relative humidity, we found highest relative humidity in case of shade net house and naturally vented polyhouse in all the stages of crop growth. But insect group net house has very low relative humidity because it is porous and the warmer air get mixed with the moist air from the net houses. But in case of naturally ventilated polyhouse, the polythene becomes a barrier for escaping the humidity from the polyhouse. So that's why humidity level in polyhouses and shade net houses are better compared to insect group net house. And also we studied the photosynthetic radiation. We found a better photosynthetic radiation in the range of 200 to 400 micromole per meter square in case of naturally vented polyhouse and shade net house. But in insect group net house, the radiation was very intense because it only blocks the radiation up to 20%. But in shade net house, it blocks up to 50%. In polyhouse, it has diffusing properties of radiation. The radiation which comes in from polythene is a diffuse one. Also the soil temperature. So whenever we found the higher ambient temperature, the soil temperature was also highest in case of insect group net house compared to other structures. So how to maintain temperature in case of composite climate where as in winter temperature goes below, in summer temperature goes very high. So in Indian condition, temperatures start rising after March. When the ambient temperature goes above 30 degrees Celsius, the side ventilator should be continuously open from the southern side and northern side up to 2 meter height. So ambient air come inside and warm air get escaped from the top heights. In the month of April, when temperature started rising above 35 degrees Celsius, then rooftop ventilator winter time. Nowadays, these provisions are coming to provide the rooftop ventilators. I will show in my upcoming slides. This can be opened, so warm air can get escape from these window ventilators. And in the month of May, June, when temperature goes beyond 40 degrees Celsius, then use of 50% shade net, aluminum net can be used, mobile shade net inside the greenhouse. And also we can use foggers, and also overhead mini sprinklers can be used, which reduces temperature 5 to 8 degrees Celsius compared to ambient temperature in the compared to open field in case of in the greenhouse. So what are the strategies to reduce the temperature in greenhouse during summer season? So nowadays some chemicals or whiteners are used on the rooftop of the polyhouses. So which act as a reflectants which are used or painted or sprayed over the polythene film. Or solar guard paints are also coming, which can be used on GI poles or flames. So which inhibits the entry of intense radiation inside the polyhouse. Then rooftop mini sprinklers and inside mobile shade net can also be used. Nowadays, aluminum net is also coming up a big way in greenhouse. Farmers previously they used to use normal shade net, but nowadays aluminum net, which reduces the radiation to great level, incoming radiation coming to the polyhouse to grade level. Then cladding material like UV stabilized or UV blocking polythene film. Nowadays, blue color low density polythene film sheet is also coming, which is very good during summer season or high temperature, high intense radiation regions can be used. And then PVC gutters, then air circulating fans, then openable rooftop windows, then hybrid type of structure, which already I mentioned in my previous slides, can be also used during summer season. So you can see the pictures of the different components which are used to reduce the temperature during summer season. These are the rooftop ventilators, like pop-up fans are there. Like this pop-up fans are there. We can place in the ridge or top portion of the greenhouse. The air circulating fans are there. This horizontal air temperature will be uniform across the structure. And this is the window type of ventilator of ventilators can be used during summer season of 2 by 1 meter size. Then increasing vent area in natural element, because we have only side vent provision in Indian condition. But like this, we can increase the vent area in natural element polyhouse to reduce the inside temperature during summer season. And also some are strategies how we can increase the vent area in case of naturally ventilated polyhouses. Then use of mini sprinklers during summer season. We can operate this mini sprinkler here. We can see placed over the polythene at the ridge of the greenhouse. Can be operated every half an hour during summer season for 10 to 15 minutes, and even same water can be recollected and recirculated. Then another one concept to reduce the temperature, like earth to air heat exchange system, like geothermal. This is geothermal cooling system. Has been very much aware now about temperature below 3 meter depth of the soil around here remains constant. So we can use blowers from one side, and that warm air or ambient air enters inside blower, and it gets cooled down, and the conditioned air exhausted from another part of the from this perforated pipe. This conditioned air gets exhausted from other part, and it can be supplied in the greenhouse. So like this also some system can be used to reduce the temperature during summer season in case of greenhouses. And coming to the one of the most important aspect of the greenhouse, which cost nearly 20% share while erection of the greenhouse, the properties of greenhouse flame. So nowadays there are compulsory properties like UV stabilization or diffusion or clear light. Some optional properties are also coming in greenhouses like UV blocking, sulfur resistance. These sulfur resistant films are mostly used for southern India for flower production, and some thermic properties, films having anti-drip, anti-mist, anti-dust property. These I am going to explain in my upcoming slides. And based on manufacturing process like monolayer, nowadays mostly 5 to 7 layer this low density polyethylene film of 200 micron is used in the greenhouses. So what are the advantages of diffuse light? So most of the films coming in the market are having properties of diffusion. So this direct lights falls on the plant, and it's also damages the canopy. Whereas diffuse light, it spreads, provide uniform light throughout the greenhouses. The light diffusion increases the photosynthetic efficiency by providing more homogeneous light from all the directions. And the diffuse film reduces the shadow, helps to minimize burning, and ensures the better distribution of light. And it is also known to help to reduce the average light temperature in case of greenhouse compared to direct light. So the light coming from net houses or in-situ net houses is direct light. But in polyhouses, the property of diffusion helps to increase yield in case of polyhouses or greenhouses as compared to net houses. And some film have infrared barriers. So during daytime, as we know, the plants and soil heat up due to solar radiation. due to visible and infrared radiation coming from the sun. And in the evening, it starts cooling down. So it remains addition. If your film is having a layer of infrared barrier, then this infrared radiation get entrapped inside the greenhouse. Here we can see how they are entrapped, and this increase leaf temperature and reduces the condensation of water on the leaf. So there is less condensation of water or dew formation on the plants during night time, and the leaves remains drier. This means in polyhouses, leaves remain drier as compared to net houses or open field condition. So there is less chances of fungal spore germination and less incidence of powder mildew or downy mildew. We can see the less incidence of this fungal disease in greenhouses compared to the other net houses or open field condition. And anti-dew properties, like in winter season, the temperature drops down less than 10 degrees Celsius during night time, and condensation takes place. If your flame don't have anti-fogging properties, in morning hours you can see the dripping of the water droplets from the flame, like in this right hand side picture. But if you have anti-dew property, the droplets will come on the edges of the greenhouse and then drops on the edge of the greenhouse. So during morning time, when the light transmission is 30 times higher, especially during early morning, and prevents dripping of the droplets on the plants, thereby decreasing their sensitivity to the diseases. In case of anti-dew properties in the polythene flame. Then antivirus property, as we know, insects navigate within the range of ultraviolet spectrum up to the 400 nanometer. When we block this range, the insect become blinds, and when they fly over the greenhouses, they do not see the plants or canopy. When we do not have this anti-virus properties in flame, insect can easily transmit the, most probably the sucking insect transmitted viruses inside the greenhouses. But having antivirus property, this insects becomes blind or inactive in polyhouses. So insects are the carrier of most of the viruses, and since the flame affect the insect activity, it is also called as antivirus flame in 7-layer polythene flame. These were above the properties of the greenhouse 7-layer polythene flame. Then coming to the repair and maintenance of the greenhouse, most probably during summer season we see the wind velocity, wind blowing, then dust accumulation is very high in case of polythene flame. Then it blocks the radiation coming entering into the greenhouses. So washing the polythene flame once in a month with the gentle water, or even your overhead sprinklers, mini sprinklers can also do this job very easily during summer season. And if we have some wear and tear in polythene flame, we can use the sellotape of 2 to 3 inch. When we see even a single slit or small tear in the polythene, if we ignore those type of damages, then there are chances of permanent damage of complete polythene flame in the greenhouse. Then this flame, one of the most important questions arises when the polythene flame should be installed in the greenhouse. So it should be flame should be installed during early morning, cold without wind, and cool evenly down to the length. And do not stretch the flames on the hot days, and it will contract when cool and may weaken. So tightening should be done during around 10 a.m. in the morning hours. This is the most ideal time for tightening or fixing of the greenhouse flame in Indian condition. And when placing the flame, make sure that right side is facing up, because so outside the anti-dust properties are there. So the outside layer should be properly fixed in the outer layer, and inside the anti-drip properties should be comes from inside. So these things nowadays companies are putting logos on the outside. So the outside it is easily understood that when logo is there, that part should come from outside in the polythene flame. And coming to some fixing properties like GI profile and spring. Recently, GI profile is popular choice of many growers in India due to low initial cost. There are two types of GI profiles available in the market, which are locally from galvanized iron profile and pre-galvanized GI sheet. So cold roll, and second one is cold roll from imported from China. Both kinds of greenhouse profiles are not recommended for longer life of plastic. GI profile rust due to high humidity and water getting stuck in profile during rainy season. GI absorb more heat compared to aluminum profile. And after some times, due to alternative heating and cooling, there are chances of cracking your polythene film due to heating and cooling of this GI profile. So every profile has its own properties, advantages and disadvantages. But initial cost of is low of GI profile, so it works much more better in Indian condition. And coming to the spring, has been no sharp edge profile. Then some important points while selection this kind of locking mechanism. When your profile edge is very sharp, there are chances of permanent damage of your polythene within 1 or 2 months of erection of polyhouse. But if your profile edge is very smooth, then there are chances your polythene will last longer. The edge of profile must be smooth and not sharp. A sharp edge profile will cut the plastic like blade, and farmers end up losing sheep prematurely within 1 or 2 or within summers during summer season when wind velocity is very high. The farmers are likely to lose the polythene prematurely. One of the simple tests is done to know the which spring is better. The alignment of spring should be perfect. To check the alignment, 4 full length spring can be taken and they can be placed over the plain surface of the wall. If the raised portion are touching to the wall on the corner, the spring will damage the plastic and will give only point roll. So all the 4 springs what you are using for testing should be very plain, should not have a point load. And if you are using GI spring, it is better to use at 1 inch strip of new polythene film to be placed over the main plastic film in the profile. And then locking should be done with GI film. So double layer polythene can be used, a strip of polythene can be used over GI profile, and this will help in longer shelf life of plastic, and as the rusted spring will not directly come in contact with the main polythene of the greenhouse. And we did one study at Kazri. We compared 3 different structures like naturally ventilated polyhouse, insect net house, and shade net house, and with 2 different proc. And we found the polyhouse is one of the most remunerative, efficient structure compared to net houses. So to produce the 1 kg of cucumber in polyhouse, we need only 30 liters of water, and in case of tomato, we need only 48 liters of water to produce 1 kg of tomato. But we can see the net house, the same season, same crop, same variety has been grown in all the structure at the same time. We see we need 73 liters of water to produce 1 kg of tomato in shade net house, 50% shade net house. Whereas in polyhouse, we need only 48 liters of water. And payback period is also very low in case of polyhouse compared to net houses. This is the case study of Jodhpur condition or Western Rajasthan when cucumber and tomato were grown during these respective seasons. This is the one of the general relation between weight and thickness of different polythene films. If we have 25 micron polythene films, it should be of 100 gauge, and per meter square of film should be of 42 kg in weight, and in case of gram per meter, it should be 23 gram per meter square. So these are the basic relation between weight, thickness, and area of most of the polythene films used in greenhouses. And this is one of the technical standards for erection of naturally ventilated polyhouses. Fan pad greenhouse and shade net house was formulated. This is one of the booklet by National Horticulture Board for erection of greenhouse, having all type of technical standards or specification, in Indian standard specifications of either GI pipes or polythene film, water material or net house, nets, whatever material we are using. So this was all about my today's lecture on the design and construction of different types of protective structures. And thank you everyone for kind participation and attending this lecture. I'm thankful to the organizer for providing this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for this informative lecture. I hope our participant gain a very much knowledge from that. Sir, we received some questions from our participant side, so I request you to answer those questions. Our first question is there any impact of location on design of greenhouse?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Can you pardon the question?
Yes, sure. Does we need to use, is there any impact of location on design of greenhouse?
Yes, definitely. During when in the areas where there is high wind velocity, the structure height should be low compared to the areas where wind velocity is very low, less. So in high wind velocity area, most probably in western parts of India, western region, where wind velocity during summer season is very high. In that case, height of the structures should be nearly 5 to 6 meter ridge height. But in other parts, it should go up to 6 to 6.5 meter height. And one more important thing is that during summer season, when wind is blowing, the side ventilation should be closed. So that will overcome the impact of wind velocity on the structure. And in temperate region, most probably they can go for glass houses. In tropical regions, the polythene film type of structures are most better.
Okay, sir. Thank you. The next question is, do we need to use RO water for irrigation?
If we have water quality having EC less than 1.8 or less than 1.5 decicement per decicement, then in that case there is no need of RO water. But if we have water quality of more than 2 decicement, and even if soil salinity is also more than 2 to 3 decibel. In that case, you can go for RO water for greenhouse cultivation.
Okay, sir.
And
the next,
yes. And farmers can also nowadays they can harvest their own water from the greenhouses. They can make these greenhouses more partially self-sustainable. During rainy season, the water can be harvested from the polythene film and can be stored in the pond and can be used conjunctive use of groundwater as well as harvested water.
Okay, sir. The next question is, how we can remove the dirt on plastic covering sheet of the structure?
Already I have mentioned in my presentation, we are using overhead mini sprinklers for cooling the greenhouse flame during summer season. So this type of mini sprinklers can be operated, and they will obviously they will clean the dust during summer season. Most probably the issue of dust comes in the summer season when wind blows very high speed.
Okay, sir. The last question is, sir, one of our participant has developed some gerbera plant in his laboratory. So he want to ask then how to do plant hardening for a tissue culture plant in greenhouse.
In tissue culture greenhouse, plants in case of tissue culture plants are maintained at very ambient, means very controlled condition. They have very low radiation and low temperature. Slightly they can go for pan pad polyhouse or having temperature up to 20 to 25 degrees Celsius and relative humidity 70 to 80%. So like that, if you maintain the microclimate of temperature in the range of 20 to 22 degrees Celsius and relative humidity in 80 to 70 to 80%. So in that structure, first they can transfer their plants, they can make them acclimatize to that conditions. They can use shade net also in that case. And slightly after a period of 1 week, the plants will get acclimatized to this increasing temperature and radiation.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I think we have covered all of the questions. I again thank you, sir, for this wonderful session. I request all the participants to join us at 3 o'clock for our next two technical sessions. Thank you all.